And it's not letting me minimize my screen. Uh, अच्छा जी, all right. Now, can you all see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Good. Ji. All right, this is diffusion of innovation model. I already sent you a recorded lecture for explaining diffusion of innovation. Let's go over it one more time. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask me, all right? Let's begin. Okay, excuse me. Do you need a pencil? No, you haven't? Okay. So diffusion, I began my lecture with this explanation that we need to think about the word diffuse. The meaning of the word the diffusion actually comes from the word diffuse, and its meaning is to spread over a large area. So an innovation is something new, especially a product. In today's in our contemporary context, in today's world, an innovation can be a technology, anything related to technology, a new gadget, a new device, a new version of a smartphone, let's say a new sort of computer. So that is innovation. So this model essentially deals with the idea that how innovations are spread over over a large area of society, or how innovations are diffused in a given society. Now, how does mass communication relate to this idea that, okay, there are innovations happening and how are they spread around people? So mass when a product comes in the market, when a new service comes in the market, whenever there is a new thing, a new technology, or new anything new, the idea is disseminated, the idea is spread by using means of communication. People get to know about something new that is available in market through mass media. So media plays an important role in the dissemination of information related to innovation. Does this make sense, Amina, especially? All does?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, for the rest of the students, does it make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. Now, has anyone heard that Samsung has recently introduced a new sort of smartphone, and it's what is its name? Z Phone. Okay, its name is Z Phone 2, and it can be folded. At the same time, it can be used as a laptop. Z Phone 2. Has anyone heard about it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, yeah, good. Have you seen the advertisement, or like how did you get to know about it?
Ma'am, I have seen the advertisement.
You have seen the advertisement. Very good. Is there any other?
And the
Gigi
flip
Ghazal,
phone?
बेटे आप क्या कह रहे हैं? Please say it
And
a bit louder.
the flip phone?
Yes, yes, the flip phone. Yes, it can be folded. It can be used as a laptop, and you can use it, and then you fold it back, and you can use it as a phone. It sounds pretty amazing from the advertisement. So you see, there is this innovation, a new sort of innovation, a small device, a portable device that can be used, that works as a phone, but at the same time it can be used as a laptop as well, and it has really good features. But I mean, I when I saw the advertisement a few days ago, I really liked watching it, and I don't think if they have it in Pakistan. Does anyone have any idea?
They have not launched it in Pakistan, but you can buy it in Pakistan. Blah, blah, blah. A few
Ghazal,
people do
beta,
have it, and it's not really that good.
Ghazal, your voice is not clear for some reason. It starts breaking up in the middle. Say it again.
Um, I I said you can get it in Pakistan, but they have not officially launched it here.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I had. That's what I heard. That's what I heard. All right. So now we were talking about the idea of diffusion of innovation, and we talked about this idea that there is a new innovation, and how it is diffused in society. And in the context of this model, media plays an important role in the diffusion of innovation. Let's move to the other slide. The origin of diffusion of innovation. This person, you see his name, sorry, this person, oh, what is happening here? Everett Rogers. Do you see my cursor moving?
Yes.
Okay. Everett Rogers, uh, he's the presenter of this model. He presented the model in 1962. I think this is something that that confused Amna a bit. So I would request you to pay attention to what I say here. All right. Well, the model originally came in 1962, but it was revised several times, even in 1970s, or even maybe Everett Rogers, I think he wrote multiple books. Like, he wrote a book and then he produced multiple editions of the same book. And if I am not mistaken, I think I need to recheck, the last edition came somewhere in 1990s, but he revised the edition multiple times, maybe more than 5 times. He was an American communication professor, a sociologist, and a theorist as well. Now, the history of this model is pretty interesting. Uh, uh, Everett Rogers grew up in the countryside of Iowa State in United States. And the area where he was growing, farming was really popular and an important mean of livelihood for people living in Iowa. And there he noticed, when he was an undergrad student or maybe pursuing his master's at Iowa University, he noticed that his father himself was a farmer. So he noticed that farming techniques, like the techniques related to pesticides, techniques related to new farming techniques and new gadgets available for farming, he noticed that how they would diffuse, how new ideas related to farming would diffuse among people. And he was noticing that many farmers, they were not quick to adopt to an innovation, and he wanted to know what were the reasons. Later on, when he went to the university, he began his doctoral studies, he went to do his PhD. He chose the same topic to study, that what are the ways people get to know about new innovations, and what are the ways people adopt new, like innovative ideas. Some people adopt them, and some people some are early adopters, some are late adopters. So he got engaged in this idea. And his doctoral dissertation was related to all of this research. Later on, he got a job, if I'm not mistaken, maybe at the University of Chicago. And he worked somewhere at University of Mexico, maybe, or in Maine, but I am not sure. So and then he thought about transforming his doctoral dissertation into a book, and then he did that, and that's how his idea got popular. So you see, the idea of diffusion of innovation, which is commonly also known as DOI, is it actually began from farmers. Because you need to consider the background of Everett Rogers, the presenter, background of Everett Rogers, the presenter of this model. He came from a farming background, from a family with a farming background, and that's where he started testing his ideas. And later on, he published a book on it, and his book got popular. And several other scholars related to the field of mass communication, they tested the idea. So that is why DOI is one of the well-tested theories or well-tested models. And that's why I have written that historically the study of diffusion of innovation has been aimed at farmers, particularly the members of rural community or population. Now, Amina, this is the part I think you were most confused, right? Does this all make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and you see, diffusion of innovation is a feature of most development programs in developing countries, and Pakistan is one of the developing countries. So whenever there is the policymakers or government agencies, they want to introduce an innovative idea or an innovative service, they do think that what will be the means by which the information will be communicated to people, and what will be the means by which people will be persuaded to adopt that technology or to adopt that idea. These are some features. I hope they all make sense to you, because and I believe you all have already seen the recordings of the lectures, because I posted them about 2 days ago, and then there are also notes, PDF notes, and there is an optional file of PDF notes. Remember, the optional file is optional for you to read. Those who are more interested in knowing about the DOI theory, of course, they can read it. So the first stage is knowledge, where you get to know about the existence of a product. You get to know, okay, there is this new innovative product that exists in the market. For example, the phone that we were just talking about. Okay? So now we have already passed this first stage. We know that there is this product that exists, and we also have the knowledge that maybe it's not available in Pakistan at this stage. Eventually, it will come to Pakistan, but maybe they don't have it in Pakistan. All right. Second stage is persuasion. Second stage is when an individual is persuaded to get the product, to adopt the idea. Okay. And after persuasion comes the stage of decision, and then finally the individual decides, all right, I'm going to adopt the idea or get the product. An individual may either adopt or may reject. Either of the choices may come here. And then confirmation. Then individual further finalizes his decision. All right, this is the main model. Model was initially, of course, and the person who is behind the idea is Everett Rogers. Roger and Shoemaker, however, they revised the model, and this is how it looks like. These are 4 stages: knowledge, persuasion, decision, and confirmation. First stage is knowledge, where an individual gets to know about the existence of products. Second stage is persuasion. The individual is persuaded, and then he takes the decision either to adopt it or to reject it, and to accept it or reject it. And then comes confirmation, where an individual holds on to his decision. Now you see, each of these stages are affected by certain variables that are identified here. Knowledge, knowledge depends on personality characteristics, general attitude toward change. So and then I have written, sorry, I haven't written it, it's written in the model. Social characteristics, cosmopolitanism. Those people who live in cosmopolitan areas, they get to know about the product sooner than people who live in countryside, or maybe in even those people who live in a metropolis, they get to know about the innovation earlier than people who live in outskirts of a metropolis. By the way, what is cosmopolitan? Who can tell? What is cosmopolitan? Come on, Ghazal, Hasib, Kamal, anyone?
That means diverse.
Yes. Who said this?
Ma'am, Heather.
Yeah, good, Heather. Cosmopolitan is something that includes people from many countries. So, for example, Karachi may be considered a cosmopolitan city of Pakistan. It has a seaport, and it's the biggest city of the country, and people there come from different parts of the world. So you see, Karachi has a cosmopolitan culture. it has a culture that has the reflection of many countries. Similarly, Islamabad can also be considered cosmopolitan because Islamabad is country's capital. You have foreigners there. People from all over the world, they come, they go to that city for official reasons, sometimes for business reasons. Okay? Uh, and metropolis is actually a main city. For example, Lahore is Lahore is a metropolis, and anything related to a chief city or a metropolis would be considered metropolitan. So social characteristics, people get knowledge about innovations if they are living in a cosmopolitan city or in a cosmopolitan area, because the you see the area has the reflection of people coming from different parts of the world, and that kind of makes the environment. All right. Perceived need for the innovation. It also depends if an individual thinks that he really needs this idea or the product, and these kind of things. All of these are actually affected by these variables. Social system variables affect knowledge, norms of a system, tolerance of deviancy. Deviancy is change. Sometimes there is tolerance. I know, especially about uh, I know my grandfather. He died several years ago. Uh, I don't want to say that he wasn't tolerant toward deviancy. He was intolerant toward deviancy, but he was, many times I noticed that he was kind of very uh, firm about some idea, like kind of opinionated. My grandfather was opinionated about some ideas. I saw him reading newspaper since my childhood, and as I grew, we all noticed, my family members noticed, that his eyesight was getting worse and he had trouble reading newspapers. And my grandfather, I remember when I was little, he would only read the headlines. He was fond of reading Nawai Waqt, by the way. He would only read headlines, and in order to know the rest of the news story, he would either ask my brother or me to read him the story. Okay, he would ask, okay, all right, I have read the headline, but I cannot read the story because the font is too small for my eyes. So can you please read it to me? And I would read it to him. And I remember my father and my uncles would often insist him to get glasses, to go for a vision check and to get vision glasses. And my grandfather would always be reluctant. He would say, no, why do I need them? I'm totally okay, my vision is okay, I don't need glasses. So he was sort of this opinionated, which means he wasn't tolerant toward this deviancy, you see. Then communication, integration is combination, to how much extent you can like you are exposed to communication, you have exposure to sort of integrated means of communication. All of these factors affect a person's level of adoption. Then perceived characteristics of innovations. Whenever a person thinks about an innovation, they have to consider advantage, its compatibility, its complexity, its triability, which means, can I try it first before I really make a decision? And observability. Like if your friend has the product and you see him using it, and you see him having a really good experience with the product, of course it will make up your mind, all right, well, my friend has had good experience, maybe I should get it too. Any example? Can anyone give any example related to what I gave you example of my grandfather. I also gave you example of a person who can maybe get influence from the experiences of his or her friend. Any example that comes in your mind?
Can I give an example of
Sure,
restaurant?
sure, go ahead.
So I have this friend. He once
Just
went
speak
to
louder,
an
please.
XYZ.
Speak louder, bete.
Hello, ma'am. Mic testing.
Yes,
Can you hear me?
yes.
Okay. Okay, so ma'am, once he went to this restaurant,
Who?
he really loved the food. A friend.
Oh, okay,
Let's call him Fazan.
oh, all right.
Okay, ma'am. So he went to this restaurant. He really loved the food. So he had made an opinion about it. So he was telling me about it. So I was like, okay, I might love it too. So I went there and I tried it. And it was good. So can this count as an example? Maybe.
Um, all right, let me give you another example. Okay? Now, uh, and then it will become clearer. Okay, Khazal? Okay. Now, another example. Society is made up of different sort of people. Some people may be considered late adopters. Some people may be considered early adopters. Ghazal, here you're talking about a service. A restaurant is a service. Let's translate this model in the context of an innovation, like an innovation, something that actually sounds like an innovation. And I'll tell you, I'll give you the example of my father. I think I talked about this example in the recorded lecture as well. All right, my father is like his father, like my father, like my grandfather is also fond of reading newspaper, and he always loves to read newspaper in the physical form, in the paper form. And my father does have a smartphone as well, and my brother and myself, we have tried to convince him many times that this is the age of new media. You do not need to buy a physical copy of the newspaper. We have so many devices, so many technology devices at home. We have iPads, computers, laptops, and even you can read your news. You can read newspaper on your own phone. My brother has given him a demo several times. I have also done the same, and he would always say, no, i I know that it's available on devices, but I am not comfortable doing it that way. I would go for a physical copy. And even when this happened, when he visited me in the US, and of course he was missing his Nawai work there, and I showed him that he could read the newspaper on a device, and but he would always say no. So in that case, maybe my father is a person who can be said to be a late adopter. This is not to say that I am an early adopter. There are many innovations for which I am myself a late adopter. That may include, I may give you the example of, all right, the phone, the Samsung phone that we were just talking about. Like, if I am given the choice to buy it, maybe I'll not go for it if it's too expensive, because I would think, all right, if my phone has almost the same functions that this device offers me, then why should I spend this much money on buying this device? And if I can do away with it, then yeah, let's go for it. Does this make sense, Ghazal?
Yes, ma'am, and that will be a very wise choice. The phone is not good enough value for money.
Really?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, each person is different. Like I said, that some are early adopters and some are late. All right, categories of adopters: innovators, first of all, the people who introduce the product or idea. Then early adopters, early majority. Then early adopters are the ones who usually take the lead, who are at the forefront to embrace an innovation. And then early majority, and then there is late majority. Late majority eventually adopts the innovation, but they are late. All right, and then laggards are the ones who remain reluctant. Okay? Who I mean, they are always thinking about ifs and buts. So these are categories. So these categories of adopters are not actually given in the PDF notes that I shared with you, but I shared them with you because I read them in another book and I found them to be very interesting. Questions, please.
Ma'am, ma'am, I have questions regarding the two-step flow of communication model. Hello, hello, hello.
Sorry, my mic was
Ma'am,
muted. Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
okay, so ma'am, रुक जा, मैं जरा फिर से स्लाइड्स खोल लूं, मुझे मुझे भूल ना जाए जो मैंने पूछना था. Ma'am, the two-step model says कि direct response नहीं होता. It's always influenced by वो opinion leaders and all. तो opinion leaders के पास भी जब information आती है तो अगर उनसे भी तो response कभी ना कभी तो मिलता होगा ना. तो उनसे अगर response मिला तो फिर भी तो वो direct response होगा. तो ये क्यों नहीं?
I am not sure if I understand your question. Let me quickly revise two-step flow. It simply, remember a stimulus response model, it said that there is a message, it comes from media, gets to audience, and audience respond to it. Like there's the stimulus and then there is this response. So the whole process happens just in one step. However, two-step flow model says that yes, there is more to it. It's not just one step. Mass media is one of the influencing forces, but people are also influenced by their social relations. So for example, and that's true. Your opinion can definitely be different from mine because like I said, each of us is different. You see, I am influenced by friends. Many times it happens that I do not know an information or any piece of information from media, but I get to know about that information from my friends or from my family members. Similarly, earlier you were giving example of a restaurant. In that case, that in like you got to know about the restaurant from your friend, and then you went there and you liked it. So you see, that's a perfect example of two-step flow, because your friend, you here we don't see any role of mass media happening. You were influenced by your friend told you about the good quality of food at the restaurant, and you went there. Maybe your friend got to know about the restaurant from the media, maybe from a pamphlet, maybe a brochure, maybe an advertisement. So he went there, he liked it, and that, you see, your friend is actually playing the role of opinion leader here. He was influenced by media, he used a service, he liked it, he built his opinion, he became an opinion leader, he told you, and then you went there and tried it. Maybe your friend told other people as well about the product. Okay? Does it make sense?
It does, but that's not really what I was asking. क्योंकि ये सब तो मैं तभी समझ गया था. It's the easy stuff.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't
But
understand your question. Go ahead. Can you speak a bit louder again?
hello.
जी जी जी.
तो मैम जैसे फिर रॉबिन्सन ने जब इसको रिवाइज किया था,
Mm-hmm.
तब जैसे वी कैन सी कि उसने ये भी किया था कि जो द लीस्ट के लिए सोशल लोग जो हैं, जो who do not really have people to influence them and all.
Mm-hmm.
So if they are open to,
Mm-hmm.
they are given the access to media, whatever, so they can be majorly influenced by the mass media and all. तो उधर भी तो फिर डायरेक्ट रिस्पॉन्स, मतलब सही है मैम. आई गेट इट कि it's a fact कि more often than not our choices do get influenced by others, but direct response भी तो होता है.
Yes.
वो जो इस पे criticism है पहले,
Then
वो
opinion
सही
leaders.
है, लेकिन
Yes.
नहीं मैम बोला.
Yes, there is direct response because opinion leaders, they are influenced by the direct response. And especially in Robinson's model, he identified two categories of people. He said those who will build up their opinion and then further share it with others, opinion leaders. And then there is another category of people which are non-discussants. Yes, they will be influenced, but they won't necessarily discuss it with others, which means they are not bringing any change. But yes, there is some level of direct response as well in two-step flow model communication. Does this answer your question?
Yes ma'am, that is all what I was trying to say. कि इधर हो रहा है.
हाँ, हो रहा है. For few people, not for everyone. Stimulus response says that it's for everyone. Everyone acts the same way. Two-step model says that no, not everyone responds to messages the same way. Acha ji, any other question? we have quickly revised two-step flow model and diffusion of innovation model of communication. I hope you like discussing them. And next, inshallah, I am planning to give you let me see, I am going to stop